Hey guys, so as promised, I am finally ready to do you guys an updated brow tutorial. I have found the perfect brow routine for me that I think looks a lot more natural, and I've just been loving it lately. And I've been promising you guys this video for quite some time, and I actually filmed it once and then just didn't love the quality, and I wanted to bring you guys something better. So without waiting any further, let's go ahead and jump into it. I think I mentioned this on the last favorites video, but I have actually been using two pencils. This is totally optional, and this look could be done with one. The reason I like to use two is I use a lighter shade on the inner part, which I think makes everything look a little more natural. Off with the Bare Minerals Brow Master pencil in the shade Cocoa on just the inner part. I start with the tip turned upward so that the pencil itself is just straight up and down. And I start at the bottom of the hair of the brow, and I just drag the pencil over, and then I come up right above that, and then up one more time. So basically you're making 3 passes straight up like so. The reason I do that is because it kind of helps to make that perfect squared off shape in the front. And that is actually the only thing I do with that Cocoa pencil, which is why I said that's totally optional. And now I'm going to be switching to the Brow Master pencil in the shade Coffee. This coffee shade, I like to kind of play connect the dots when I do brows. So we filled in that inner corner, and now I'm just going to be connecting where we filled in the inner part up to the arch of the brow. And if you're trying to locate your arch, it can be different for everybody, but typically it's going to be like on a 45-degree angle from the pupil of your eye. So you can kind of like use that as a reference point, and that is where mine is at. So I just kind of like smooth out this line from that inner corner and go ahead and draw the arch. And when I work with clients on doing that arch, I refer to it as a mountain peak. You want to identify the arch and then kind of drag everything up, turn, and come down. So it's basically going to be like the top of a triangle. Then from that point, I go ahead and draw the tail. I used to draw the tail from the bottom, but I find the results are a lot better if you draw the tail from the upwards part versus from coming lower, because when you come upwards, it's going to already put you on the proper angle to make sure it goes down where you need that to land. Coming from where we drew the arch, I'm going to be bringing the tail straight down, and that's going to come to about like another 45-degree angle from the edge of my lashes. Now, depending on the amount of real hair and how much you want to draw your brow in, you may not go as far, and that's totally okay. But for me personally, I like to have a longer tail, and it just balances everything out. Kind of connected all of our dots from that inner corner to our little mountain peak to the tail of the brow. Now I'm going to turn this coffee pencil up and down like we did initially with the Cocoa, and I'm just going to start to shade everything in. And the reason I only shade from the top down is now I find that looks a lot more natural. Years ago, I used to draw in my top, draw in the bottom, and then fill in between, and they were harsh. So now I only draw in the top and then fill in the bottom. So I'll start over here and just soften up and merge everything together where we ended with that Cocoa, and I'm just lightly feathering, which actually helps to create the look of real hair in those areas more than if you drew this direction. Having the pencil turn straight up and down and just lightly feathering is what's going to give you that more natural look. Once I get to where the arch is, I'll turn the pencil back sideways just because that's a narrow area for me and I don't like as thick of a brow. If your brows were thicker, you could just continue, but once I arrive here, I'll just kind of turn and smooth everything out with that tail. Now, the most important step for me is spooling. If anything looks harsh or uneven, I always go in with the spoolie in, which is included in this brow pencil, which is another reason that I love it, and I'll just do that to soften. But in order to keep this squared off shape we worked so hard to create in the front, you want to spoolie straight up here in the front, and then take your spoolie and start to work it over. And this helps to lighten any areas that may have gotten too dark, along with smoothing out any lines across that top where we penciled everything in that may look harsh. Another thing I want to mention, if at any point you felt like maybe when you spoolied things weren't perfect up top, or you got a little too low down in the arch area, you can always take just a concealer brush. This is a Bare Minerals Complexion Perfector brush, and you can even just kind of trace along your edges if you're somebody that wants everything more clean and precise. That's not something that I usually do day to day, but no, it is an option. Last step is the Bare Minerals Strength and Length Brow Gel, and I like to use the shade Clear, but it does come in other colors. If you didn't even want to have to pencil, you could just get a tinted brow gel and fill in that way. Or if you're totally new to brows, when I work with clients who have never filled in their brows, I recommend they just start with the clear brow gel, and then once you get used to that, you can add in colored brow gel or a pencil. But that's a good way to just kind of get in the routine of doing something with the brows. Take this and use it kind of similar to the spoolie. You want to brush up in the very front just to make sure we keep that squared off shape. Then from there, I start to brush over. And one of the reasons I so love this brow gel is because it's serum infused, so it helps the brows stay strong with the day-to-day wear of applying the makeup, and it can also help to fill in any areas that you may need some extra growth. And one last thing that's not totally necessary, you could be done at that point, but if you're like me and your brows tend to grow down, I have a problem area right there in the arch. You can see that they aren't going up all the way. You can go back in with a spoolie brush one last time, just making sure you brush up there in the front, then brush over, and once that brow gel's on, then when you go in with that spoolie to set everything in place, they will truly be locked in place for the day. That will complete this updated brow routine tutorial. I will be linking all the products below, and I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please make sure to subscribe, and I will be seeing you all very soon. Bye.